Hey, Biff, what did the
Yes, sir.
painter say to her boyfriend on Valentine's Day?
I have no idea, Jack. What did the painter say to her boyfriend on Valentine's Day?
I love you with all of my art.
That Valentine sure was funny. It says, choo choo choose me. And there's a picture of a train.
Ah, all right. This one's gonna guaranteed. This comes with the Carnival Personnel Podcast guarantee of your money back. Getting your money back on this one, Biff.
This is like a presidential promise, right?
It truly is. It truly is. Hey, Biff.
Yeah.
What do single people call Valentine's Day?
What, Tuesday? I don't know.
Independence Day.
Time's up.
Independence Day.
I got a smirk from Joe. That one counts. Hello, everybody. This is Jacques. Welcome to Carnival Personnel.
This is Biff. I don't know why I'm here.
It's not a smirk, it's a reverse stroke. Like it's the sign of a
Stroke.
I don't know.
Speaking
Hi.
of strokes, no, I'm just kidding.
Podcast over? Oh no, there's more.
That hunk of love right
There's
there
more?
is Joe. And you know what? Honestly, my favorite part of Valentine's Day is the next day where everything is 75% off at CVS.
Which
The
means it's like
candies.
actually 25% over market, like over
Right,
retail
exactly.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went in
Dude,
there.
I sent you the picture from CVS the other day.
Yes, yeah, you did. Yeah.
They have Cadbury, not Cadbury, but Reese's chocolate eggs, like individually wrapped eggs, $2.09 each for a egg.
Exactly.
How
and it's
dare
funny,
you?
But
They said that the egg prices were going down.
I did go in, and they still had a couple Christmas things still there that they were only 20. They were down to 75% off. I was waiting for them to be 400% off, so they would give me money, to take that little thing. But guys, it's been a while since we've all been,
Yep.
here. So I've been getting some updates from Biff, who's as normal. His work is insane and upside down, and actually
It's
worked on
finally kind of
Christmas.
settled down. Yeah, finally settled down.
Oh, you got fired. Okay, good. All right.
No, that would be good, right?
And Joe, we talked the other day, and your 91 facilities in a 300 mile
mile
radius.
radius.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
We're in the Atlantic now.
Look, first of all, shout out to last week's guest, Madeline, who wrote this amazing book on Yoko Ono. Fun story. Her story of she was a young girl who was into Yoko Ono before she hooked up with John Lennon. She was loved art, saw her in like a pop culture magazine, and became pen pals. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. And the fun story was they finally met like 10 years after being pen pals. And she went to this art exhibit. This is a few years after, Lennon was assassinated, and wanted to go on her birthday. It was a couple months running of a show. And basically, so she would be there on her birthday for her. It wasn't a John Lennon related thing.
Right.
And she gave her this card, and I guess Yoko was, oh, thank you very much, and looked down and noticed the writing. And then instantly like, oh my God, Madeline type thing. And they've been fast friends. Yeah. It was kind of funny. It was kind of like when we had the woman on who wrote,
Pauline.
Pauline, started just being pen pals. So it was great, and then of course, she was great. I'm so super jealous because she was a staple at CBGB's, because she was a big music has been her whole life. Right. And that kind of music. So she saw David Bowie there. She saw Iggy Pop there. She saw the Ramones. She saw Talking Heads at CB's before they were anything, Right. So that was fun. And then, friend of the podcast, historian, collector, my friend Mark Gregonia, who co-hosted that. That was super fun. So I just wanted to give that a shout out. It was, I enjoyed, the parts of the book that I got the book and read, a lot of it, not a lot, but enough where it was fun.
Yeah.
But a fascinating person. I read a bunch of her blogs. She does these curated podcasts for different, like, here's a Father's Day podcast, which is a lot of, not just songs about like dads, but also like TV dad songs and stuff. It was, it was fun. It was fun. Listen, she was fun. It was great that Mike jumped on. But just before you jumped on, Joe, I don't know the last time the three of us did a podcast. It's been at least 2 months.
Something like that. I was going for 3, but you had to break the streak.
So I almost reached out to Joe this week, but I would have reached out to you, and maybe we'll do it. A sad passing, 71 years young, the great.
Catherine O'Hara, yeah.
Like
Catherine O'Hara, yes.
Truly, like beyond a national treasure to the great people of Canada.
Yeah.
But us, I mean, pop culture lovers. I think she's more than, I thought about actually maybe even doing the sideshow and having special guest management on, because she is a huge 80s person, and Joe and I love her for, of course, SCTV, love her for Schitt's Creek. But I mean, come on, Home Alone.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
It was Beetlejuice for me, right? Because it was like one of those deals where I hadn't seen her in a while, right? And then suddenly she shows up in Beetlejuice. And God, I had forgotten how so good she is.
Oh, just I mean, a chameleon beyond chameleon. And then when you and then it's technically the 90s, it's technically 1990, but as you guys know, how huge, like Beetlejuice in our house, we have, like, the wife has a chair up in her room that, we had to drive a few hours to get, that looks, it's Beetlejuice-esque, this really nice, like, chair. But come on, our house is Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, I live for Christmas. Management lives for Halloween.
You just changed you just did the director, whatever.
No, but she's Sally. She's Sally from
right?
Nightmare Before Christmas. Right. I mean, that plays such a huge role in and the number of times we quote her, like every time we go to the hospital. Or we say to our boys or somebody, it's like, you have to be patient. I don't want to be patient, because it's like, I always say that in her, like, whine voice and that. But one of the things about her is when you hear the greats that we love talk about her, it's like always when it doesn't matter what discipline you are in, but when the greats of the greats talk about you, the way that Martin Short talks about her, that John Candy talked about her, that everybody who ever worked about her, were in her presence, who were just, all the people who were great actors who came into her world during the run of Waiting for Guffman and Best of Show, who were like, I knew how great she was, and then I worked with her, and I was just blown away.
The song that she does with Eugene Levy in the A Mighty Wind,
yes,
a kiss at the end of a rainbow. It genuinely makes me tear up, because it's such a, it's written by Michael McKean and his wife, and but the way they perform it, the way the song plays into the story, it's just so great. Like it's. It shows off another talent of Catherine O'Hara that you don't really, think about. Like, she was a good singer, so she was I don't know how she danced. I don't know if she was I don't think she was a triple threat, but she,
So management will be forever mad at herself, because we loved LA. We love LA. We go there. She goes to concerts everywhere. She never got over to the Hollywood Bowl for the Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along that Danny Elfman and Catherine O'Hara did on a regular basis. And it's usually like, we would usually come home around Christmas, that we would usually be home for a week to 2 weeks around Christmas. It just never timed out. And now her timeline the last week is making her cry because they sing those songs. From that were just, because there was a great documentary about Nightmare Before Christmas that came out, a few years ago. Why am I blanking on the director's name? Fuck.
But it's not Tim Burton.
Yes, Tim Burton.
Well, he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, that's the thing. He Nightmare Before Christmas was his thing.
Right. He got top billing, like the name above the title thing.
Correct. Right. But he was busy doing the next Batman movie because Batman blew up. And so basically Danny Elfman cobbled together and a lot of other people came together. So that movie came together from a lot of artisans who just wore many hats. And of course, because Tim Burton's coming off of Batman, his name, it was Tim Burton. It was the quick backstory is he did all these drawings while he was an artist at Disney that never got used. He got fired from Disney like most people do. He blows the fuck up. Disney is going through their archives, says, hey, didn't that fuck work here? They see all these sketches that technically they own. And they're like, go do this movie. And he's like, great, I'll take all your money. But that's when his whole life, and he would be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. He would go to Vancouver, go to the set and be like, this is all wrong. And they'd be like, oh, okay. He'd leave and they do exactly what they wanted to do. So Danny Elfman did, the songs in those, but again,
right.
And then
doesn't he do a lot of Tim Burton movies,
everything,
right?
It's like Tim Burton isn't Tim Burton without Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
I mean, Beetlejuice isn't Beetlejuice without Danny Elfman. That whole score. But anyways, we're kind of getting off on the score. Tim Burton, Danny Elfman tangent.
Thank you. Yes. But getting back to Catherine. So, coming full circle, in my house, over the pandemic, is when we fell down as a family the rabbit hole of Schitt's Creek. So my sons, are introduced to 5 seasons of Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, just each and every episode being, how can this person be this funny? How can this person be this? And then they do a play within that. And they're like, you see, she sings in that and just her acting. I mean, so the fact that I, as a 9-year-old, and the thing that drew me to STV, and it's funny, the beginning of the show started, and I knew the opening of the show, a bunch of TVs being thrown out a window. And as a 9-year-old, that was the funniest thing that could have ever been done, in 1977, 78, watching PBS that aired SCTV at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whenever it came on the PBS station here. And then it was on, God, I want to say Channel 56 picked it up. But Biff, when were you in Toronto? And
I was too young to be watching, basically I didn't, I left Toronto when I was 12, right? So I didn't really start watching the real comedy stuff until maybe another.
But how old were you what year were you 12?
1977.
Okay, so you weren't too young. You had what was that?
I was there at the right time, right?
Parents that wouldn't let you stay up because you had 6 days of school, including 12 hours of Japanese school on Saturday.
Actually, my parents never cared when I went to bed. It's just,
as long as you got up. Yes, as long as your 12 hours of homework got done that night.
But.
And then you were you were too busy going to WHA Toronto Aero Games.
Toronto Toros.
Yeah. But so Catherine O'Hara again. I mean, so for you it's Beetlejuice, Joe, or Home Alone?
Oh, Beetlejuice, definitely. I would watch that on a loop growing up because it came out when I was 10 or 11, and I just I recorded it off TV and I would watch it over and over. And yes, she was a delight to watch. And I didn't really fall into SCTV until later. So I think it was Beetlejuice first, then eventually SCTV.
Yeah, because for me SCTV was I kind of discovered it more in college than before that. So
it depends on if they aired reruns or whatever.
Yeah,
where you were. Right.
But then, but it certainly, it was Beetlejuice for me also. I mean, part of it, having a crush on Winona Ryder also had a little to do with it.
But for me, it's Nightmare Before Christmas, hands down. I mean, it's SCTV, of course. Of course, and again, this is encompassing the amazing people she's always been around. I don't know if either one of you guys would be into it, but I would love to do let's compare the first season of SCTV versus Saturday Night Live, which means, Joe, the next time management goes out of town, we're gonna have to put in the work, Joe. We're gonna fucking have to put in the work. But when you look at those lineups, I don't know what has a better lineup. I don't, but that's a story for another day. But Catherine O'Hara was in my life early through SCTV, as a kid of the 80s, and 1990 is part of the 80s. The 80s really started around 81, 82. The 90s probably started 93, 94. You know what I mean? You have those spillover, the Venn diagram. And I put 1990 in the Venn diagram of that. And again, Shit Creek, just 5 seasons with, two of our favorite people, Chris Elliott and Eugene Levy, and of course, and then, Dan Levy becomes one of our favorites.
I will say I did get emotional looking at the A-B of photographs between her and Macaulay Culkin as a child, and then her and Macaulay Culkin as an adult when he was getting the Hollywood Walk of Fame honor. And it was just like the side by side, and I was like, oh, gee.
Yeah, that stuff, it does. It like guts me like a fish. But yeah, let's do one of her side shows. And 71, come on. I didn't want to know what she died of, but it
was a rare condition. It was some rare thing, but yeah, of course, the rare thing hits one of the rarest people in the world.
I mean, quick debate on that. I mean, it's like there are some geniuses who are just, you know what I mean? It's like that divine intervention. There's something, you know what I mean? There's something in your brain that taps into the other 90% that none of us will ever access. The places she goes when she acts and stuff like that. And again, there's moments where, afterwards, because it's been off the air, all the EPKs and behind the scenes that came out afterwards of Shit Creek, where so much of that stuff where she was just going off. And it was kind of like these people come in this room, they're talking about this, and they wouldn't bother fucking write dialogue because whatever you were going to put on the page is not what Catherine O'Hara was going to say,
Right. But I'll say one thing that I think is, I know TV program creation is crappy compared to before in many ways, but I just think that it seems like because the networks are doing so much less to create things, because between this and shows like Hot in Cleveland and stuff like that, I don't know that people iconic like that could have done what they did in the 80s, right? Those people were basically done, right? I mean, they weren't getting jobs, or they were getting maybe guest spots on the Love Boat or something like that, right? And to have people like that kind of extend their careers, because they're just great, right? I feel like so I'm not a fan of a lot of the ways they do TV or program creations now, but I think the programs are really, really good in many occasions, and just good to have those people who could just stick around and keep doing it.
Speaking of sticking around, the last thing that I saw her in was in an episode, a story arc in The Last of Us.
Yes.
Oh,
and my boys, that because that was one of their big video games, and so they and also from what I heard, amazing show. Like the people who play the game were like, that's like the first show that are like, yeah, you know what, you didn't fuck this up,
No, it's a good show.
And so the fact that they love that, but for from that, but also there's just so much stuff that is not on any of our radar because she was a household. She was never not working in Canada.
Yeah,
the CBC kept her fucking so busy all the time. You go down a list and you're like, never seen this movie. You talk to a Canadian and they're like, oh my God, that's what I know her for. But anyway, so sad passing of that. But thank you for the absolute wealth of stuff that lives in perpetuity in our world. You know what I mean? It's like, Sally will always be, one of my first loves, so I will always have, Catherine O'Hara, as part of my world, because of that. So that, so we will definitely do that. Speaking of comedy, I've done a lot of comedy. I ended the year on a high note.
No,
Don't talk about
no, no. I'm just saying, no, not speaking of comedy.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's true. I will say this. I posted something this week that's not comedy. So, old guys talking about the weather. Yeah, we got buried this week. Here's what upset me. So 4:00 in the morning, I go potty. I ask the listening device next to me what the temperature is and what the weather is. And it's like, it's -3 degrees right now. And today's temperature will have a high of 18 and a low of 7. And then I asked the listening device, it said, hey, is -3 lower than 7 degrees? And they're like, yeah, blah, blah. And I asked it to repeat the weather. I gave the AI algorithm a chance to correct itself. And why AI is taking over the world, why we're losing our jobs, why the rise of the Terminator is imminent, especially because they make those goddamn robots exactly halfway between where Joe lives and I live, is where Boston Dynamics is, that makes those parkour robots. Yes, the AI Terminator is imminent, but they're going to be stupid. Like, we're going to be able to trick them because
at least there won't be any water left because of it.
Right.
To make them smarter. That ocean or that bay behind Biff in his Zoom thing right now will be, bone dry in about 10 years.
I hopefully. I've been spending time with Woody. Woody's going to help me put together, an F&H friend. I'm almost done writing a script, a sitcom script.
Oh.
I'm hoping to shoot it. I said April, but I'm thinking like late June out in LA. I'm going to do a table read soon. So that's exciting. I was scaling back this year. Like I talked about on the podcast, I hit pretty much the comedy goals I wanted to, as many like shows and this and that and the other thing. But I wanted to like focus on some other stuff like this year, like being funnier at those shows, maybe doing less shows, but spending more time, like, getting funnier. And I mean that, like, all my stuff.
Shorter and funnier.
It's interesting because I talked to a friend of the podcast, Wayne, recently, and he noted that so many of my bits are completely different. And I talk about things that other comics don't, but a lot of my bits come in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, have the same kind of pacing. And I said, so basically I'm the Three's Company of
Well, so when you say
comedians.
same kind of pacing, it's like, long and drawn out. Is that the pacing you were talking about?
Going nowhere. Right. Like long drives into brick walls. But it's
like you're going nowhere, like your career. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It's like, okay, the first, like the timing of this joke comes in here. It comes in there. So I want to mix it up and stuff. But I got to the point where I don't reach out to a lot of bookers and say, hey, here are my availabilities, like you're supposed to if you want to do this on a regular thing. But I get enough calls where they're like, are you open on this date? And I'm like, no, I'm working somewhere, but you haven't told me yet, and then very excited next month. So I don't drag Joe to as many stuff unless I'm doing show, but there's a comedian I really want Joe to meet on the 7th of next month, new guy called Tony V. So, go be a big treat for Joe to meet him. But I'm also going back through and trying to edit clips from, different things. I pulled out some old sketch stuff that, Joe and I have done that I might want to start posting on socials, being very careful about which ones, because not everything aged well. But
That's
anyway.
like a thing, huh? Like, just, oh my God, it just, things suddenly turned a lot in terms of like, that used to be funny. I still think it's funny, but I can't admit it's funny anymore, right? That's
like, a lot of vaudeville routines,
Oh, yeah,
didn't-
definitely.
didn't age well. A lot of, comedy is of its time.
Well, not like I remember watching some 80s movie where waitress comes, takes the order, turns and takes a step away and gets slapped in the ass by, the leading man. And
right.
and she makes a joke of it, or a flow from Alice, you get a kiss my grits type thing, and it's like, yes, being handsy with the waitress, totally fine, comical genius, and if she put up a fight, it was, isn't she sassy?
I guess just the essence of Benny Hill, right? It's just like, yeah, Benny Hill, yeah, okay.
But
Hilarious, but don't know if you create Benny Hill.
I will say a lot of Benny Hill holds up. I will
At
say
least-
that.
Yeah,
At least
sure.
when I
Just
watch
nice.
it and I revert it to it being a 10-year-old watching it on Channel
Yeah.
56 in Boston.
And I don't think I've gone. I don't think I've gone a week in my life without, you know.
Well, it is your ringtone, so what the heck?
Well, she stopped calling me so much. You know? Let's talk sport. Biff probably has a lot of things. I won't go down this rabbit hole, but I'm surprised of like how ambivalent I am that the team that 5 years ago ruled every waking moment and every moment of my life, because I would wake up at 3 a.m. to see if somebody had a theory on the long snapper 7th round draft pick that the Patriots might be drafting.
I think that's called a bandwagon fan. I think it's what it's
Huh?
called.
Yes,
No,
yes.
he's a recovering addict.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I was not a functioning human being.
Yeah.
No, Biff, I'm not on the
I'm just kidding.
bandwagon. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
It's
just
like,
kidding. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I will say though, like there is something about football, and I really have a hard time putting my finger on it. Where I just, I'll watch it, and it's kind of ironic in a way that, like the on-field gameplay has been incredible. I mean, the plays that these players make are because just like with anything, right? You get better over time. People get better over time, but it's just I don't know what it is that. I don't enjoy it in the way I used to, and it's flipped for ice hockey. Ice hockey, the game has like once again, the play has been great, and I just think it's incredible. But I don't feel the same love for football, and so I don't know what it is.
I think it's just
That's what I think.
aging in general. Like you get older and you realize like
Maybe, yeah.
when you were younger, you were probably more participatory in sports and and you had like, I don't know, maybe there's like more of an investment or you felt more of a kinship to the
Yeah,
players.
I
And
know.
now you're watching basically people 30
Sure.
years your junior.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they're not contemporaries. They're younger kids.
Speak for
30
yourself.
years
30.
your junior, 40 years
40.
mine and Biff's junior.
40,
Like
yeah.
by
Yeah.
by 25, like 90, honestly, 75% of the NFL is under 26 years old.
Yeah.
You're coming out of college at 21, 22, and careers are only 3-4 years old. Like you are old at 30. Like you are literally, you're the grizzly vet at 28. But yeah, honestly, I might see if Joe wants to get together and watch something, because the last game that I watched was with Joe 6 years ago. But now I'm conflicted, because it's like you can't keep politics out of things. You know what I mean? Everything is political. And the owner of the
I will say one thing that really changed for me in 2012, which is that the moment I saw a team that I love, watch the championship, right? Like, so obviously your birthday on 2012, that kind of like changed everything for me in terms of like, I am not so like rabid about like things anymore. That day changed me a lot. And that,
Biff,
so you know what?
yes.
I feel like I got to feel that, and then after that, in 2014 was fantastic when the Kings won again. But the teams that I love have gone far deep in the playoffs and whatever, and they lose, and so not this year. And before he used to crush me for a couple days. Like when the the Steelers lost to Green Bay, or when the Steelers lost to the Cowboys in the 90s, it was just like crushing for me. And it's like now it's like you know what. I had my moment, and that changed.
And what a moment it was. I mean, you didn't watch it. You were there.
Yeah.
Like to have been there for that, Yeah, I mean, it's like, I know, I completely get it. And then all the, Robert Kraft came out this week or last week and was talking about to watch Patriot games this year, you had to have 7 different streaming services. I mean, when like the late 90s through the early 2000s, after the third Patriots Super Bowl, they started being on network TV a lot. Like out of a 16-game schedule, like 11 games would be on. So you would only have to find a bar to watch a handful of games. So I would get the football package, and it got every game. This year, the Patriots were on 7, and I guess it's not just Patriots, but that was one of the problems that people had.
So the popular teams, right, would get featured. So like I think Amazon had some games that were exclusive to them, and then and obviously you have to have the ESPN stuff to get the Monday Night Football and stuff like that, right? So, but I mean, I think that if you got most of your home team games, because you guys sell out, right? So you should have gotten your home games on the local networks if you still have
Right.
that, right?
Right, but they had
But
8 road games that were.
But then,
one was on
they would have
Ruco.
the,
Yeah.
well, you would have all of your games except when they have like, they pull the, a Patriots game for Thursday night or Monday Night Football or whatever, right? That's when it gets kind of thrown off.
So, but
I didn't like going on OnlyFans to watch the Patriots game. That was a little much. I thought this is a bridge too far.
Oh, but the fact
that was a different kind of Patriots. I think that's the Turning Point USA Patriots.
talking
A little bit different.
talk about fantasy team.
Hi-oh.
So yeah, management excited about the halftime show. That's an album that she actually got this year. The Bad Bunny thing. So yeah, so my hope is that at the end of his halftime show, he kisses a dude. So that will just put everything over. Like the people who are losing their shit that, look, hey, should be an American do the halftime show, just like when it was U2 or Paul McCartney. We've already talked about that. But
so Chris Long, who's he's a son of Howie Long and former NFL player. He has a podcast. He was saying, what they should do is that they should completely tell no one. And then, when Bad Bunny first come out, the first thing he does is that, as he comes out, the second, thing, like this thing comes out from and elevates a second person, and have that person be Bruce Springsteen, and they sing "Born in the USA" together, and that's what. And obviously, Chris Long obviously doesn't know what the song means, like the Reagan campaign didn't know what the song means, but still, I'm thinking, when you're comparing that against Kid Rock, it's like. In that sense, I kind of get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an okay sentiment, but also it's kind of like if that were like a real thing, it would be like, wait a minute, what? So Bruce Springsteen, yes, it's great that he would be here, but like, isn't this the Bad Bunny show? Like, doesn't that kind of take away from Bad Bunny's whole spotlight?
Absolutely,
but I don't know. No, we'll see what happens. And I don't think Bruce Springsteen speaks Spanish, so he won't be able to sing along to most of the.
That's right.
The best.
You know what's funny though? Like in my circles, right? Because this game is in San Francisco, and it happened the last time the Super Bowl was in San Francisco also, where the metal guys are saying, well, like Metallica is like the greatest current band out of the Bay Area. Why aren't they playing? And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't think you were getting the point of what the halftime show is, because the halftime show isn't to make you happy. It's it's to basically draw in fans that may otherwise not watch.
No, right.
I mean,
thank you.
Right, exactly. And it's also like how many of the it's going to be back in the Bay Area like in 5 years anyway. Like it's only like there's a certain rotation of like warm weather stadiums in which the Super Bowl can be played in. It's not like we can always showcase the Bay Area.
My favorite meme that the management sent me the other day is, the guy watching the Turning Point USA halftime show can't wait to tell his kids how awesome Kid Rock was at his next supervised visit with his children. It's like, but I hope it's a great game. Because I live here, I was at the school the other day. I was teaching at a school the other day, and I'll tell you, it was great to see all the kids like just wearing, the different jerseys and, the whole school, like the teachers. And so it's fun for the community. It's fun. I'm happy for like my mom and my brother-in-law will go over and hopefully they win. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I get together with Joe or watch some of it, maybe. We have an antenna now because my wife finally broke down and got an antenna because she wanted to watch the Grammys the other day. So, we can watch it here. But the other thing I thought of is the Olympics started. And once again, Biff and I shared this absolute amazing moment, June 11th, in 2012 at the Kings game. But for a week, we spent a week
in Vancouver,
I planned really hard, but I planned as much as I could, but things fell through. You couldn't get hotels. We've already talked about this. We ended up renting a houseboat right on the water. It was a longer walk down the pier from the car to the pier, but we had the last boat there, an older boat, complete unobstructed view of all of Vancouver. Like we were on the other side of where the water, we took a water taxi over. The city was beautiful. We saw so many events. Being at the Winter Olympics was such a special week for me to share it with Biff, to share it with his son. It was beyond great. And now it's like, oh, yeah, well, I hope they do good. I just have no desire because of all the bullshit that has gone into sport. And again, I hope the good guys win a lot of things,
harder.
but I can't separate.
Yeah, no, it is definitely, like, and that's the thing, right? All of those, the IOC, FIFA, NCAA, all these governing boards are just awful, right? I mean, so kind of hard to get around it. But I am kind of, and this is so weird, but I'm, usually not a figure skating guy, but I am really excited for that American chick, Alyssa Liu. I don't know if you heard her story, but it's like she was one of those child prodigies, right? And so it's they go through the same thing that the gymnasts do, right? And then she won like a bronze medal in the Olympics, won the world championship, and at like at age 16 or 17, she said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, and so she quit. And then a couple of years ago, she said, I want to do this again. And so basically she said, this time I'm running the show, right? So before, right, everything was being dictated by the people around her. And she goes, this time around, I'm calling everything. It kind of reminded me of, so when you see her skate, she skates with so much joy. And the first thing I thought of, and this, we're old enough to remember this maybe, is that I think it was the 92 Olympics where Debbie Thomas, who was the American, was under so much pressure. And like early on in her final skate, she fell. And just like looking at the pain in her face, and just like, obviously she had other things, right? She was, when you're a black, woman representing the United States in figure skating, that comes with a different set of pressure. But just, at the time, just felt so bad for her. And I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, this is how, it should have been for her, that she could just skate with joy. But so
I guess Lindsey Vonn, is she skiing, or did she try to come back, or is she part of it?
No, she's there. So yeah, she tore her ACL. Well, apparently you could tear your ACL and still do this, which is like, okay.
But the same thing, it's like she retired and she came back and she wants to do this. I mean, we talk about this. There's pure joy that gets sucked out of so much of that, and the pressure and stuff. It's like the people who are doing it for the pure joy. I mean, that's that's why
there's no money in it. You have to do it for the pure joy. Like this, like you're not. I mean,
at least people like Lindsey Vonn, right? But she gets money not doing the sport, right?
But every other one,
a little bit, right? A little bit, right? But
90%,
all the other ones, right?
Right, like the big money in the luge, I mean,
right. If you're doing biathlon, right? Yeah, nobody's shooting you, paying you for cross country skiing and shooting.
Yes.
But
maybe they'll get a little NRA stuff, but that's it. I had genuinely forgot the Olympics were happening. I didn't even know where they were being held. The only reason I knew that that the opening ceremonies were on Friday was because JD Vance was booed mercilessly, thank you.
Yeah.
By the rest of the world. And it was pretty embarrassing, and I don't think NBC covered that. I think that you had to go on OnlyFans. Like
what was it? Your Patriots OnlyFans membership allow you access to the OnlyFans? It's funny.
It was on C-SPAN. I don't know.
Right.
I'm asking you, Joe, because this is everybody else. Stop listening. When you just said the world, yes or no, you were doing Dennis Miller. Hitler took
Dennis Miller.
No, Dennis Miller. Yeah. Fuck me. All right.
Norm Macdonald.
I'm banishing myself. Yeah, Norm Macdonald took on. Looks at the paper. The world.
The world. Yeah, Germany decided as its opponent in the First World War. The world. Yes.
The way you said it, and that's why I love you. That's the only reason. No, there's thousands of reasons, but that bullshit right there, Joe's. I caught that. Yeah, I've been to Milan, and Milan is great, and there's all these reasons you think, yeah, I'll see highlights. I will say that I am the king of watching highlights. I do enjoy highlights, but it's funny. I went upstairs this morning.
I like the magazine part where you have to find out what's wrong.
He's over there. Yep. How they're different.
Oh, that's a deep cut. You kids.
No, I sent my sister an Instagram link that came up. Some woman started a highlight magazine for adults. It's a real thing. Anyway, but I did.
Also, by the way, one more thing, right? The first Olympics for Lila Edwards out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. First black woman to represent the U.S. in U.S. Women's Olympics. Ice hockey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Nice. Great. And honestly, there is, I'll say it now on this date, stamp it here. There's a 50% chance My niece is playing in the next Olympics. So, you know what I mean? So I followed that management. Two of her really good friends in LA. And this is funny. People who don't know LA might be the figure skating capital of America. It really might.
It's been for a long time, yeah.
Where John and I go and do the morning skate, the King's practice facility forever. And I don't know if they changed it because it used to be an Olympic rink. Anyways, but two of her friends tour like the way my management follows Duran Duran around. One of her Duran Duran friends also goes to 3 or 4 huge U.S. figure skating things. So tangentially, I've heard about all these figure skaters, and again, like you talked about, Biff, with the level, the shit that these people can do. I've been saying this for 30 years. It's like when parkour started to be a thing, and as a comic book guy, you read these things and you're like, yeah, Nightwing could be a real goddamn superhero. Like all these, when you see what human beings can actually do, when you realize that people used to do backflips in figure skating competitions, but it got banned because too many people, or Simone Biles, she's had 2 moves named for her that have been banned because it's not safe for other human beings to try. So I'll follow along. And again, like as far as the hockey goes, the 4th line guy on an NCAA Division I team is better than anybody who played in the 1980 NHL All-Star game. That's a fact. They are faster. They shoot better. They skate better. They pass better. You take a 4th line person on a college team is better than Gretzky was in 1980. And it's not heresy to say that. That's how good these have got. So I'll tune in.
But that's also, like that still happens with sports over time.
Everything.
Like 70s hockey is unwatchable. People glorify the 70s hockey, Joe, because that's when they had a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
But every once in a while I would say, oh, look at what's on. Back when they had this thing called the NHL Network. When I had this thing called the NHL Network during the summer, right? They'll just show random games and they'll show these archival games, and I was like, the 1975 Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm thinking, God, these guys suck.
It's so sloppy. Yeah.
It's like watching us play.
I honestly looked this up. It was around that time, like early 90s. I'm watching an old game, and it's before Wikipedia. So I had to go to the library and actually research when they allowed back checking in the NHL. Because I don't think back checking came into the NHL to them. Like, honestly, if you watch a clip of Bobby Orr and somebody chases him coming out of his defensive zone, once he hit neutral ice, well, either the defenseman stop him or or I'll just wait here at the face-off circle because he's going to score and they're going to bring the puck back here. Like, honestly, back checking wasn't a thing. Even Patrick Roy, the great Patrick Roy, I think his butterfly, his style of goaltending, or didn't really evolve until, as good as he was with Montreal, he became a better goalie in Colorado. You know what I mean? So you see gold, anyways. So I'll watch it, because we have Peacock, and I know what's happening because you can't turn on Peacock to get it, but. Look, I hope the Patriots win. I won't be sad because, let's face it, the owner of the Seahawks is a better person than Robert Kraft. I don't think I'm breaking any ground here.
I can't pit billionaires against billionaires and root for one of them. It's kind of like, whatever, man.
I will say it is the thing that's annoying about most of the sports that I love about hockey is that they hand the trophy to the freaking owner. It's like, what the hell did the owner do?
Right. And then in hockey, it's happened more than once. You hand it to the team captain who realizes this ain't my trophy, who hand it to,
it depends, right? There are some times, right, where like they hand it off to we have this guy, who is a legend in the game. It's probably his last game. We're going to hand it over to this guy, right?
Or when you see them literally make the trainer do a lap around with it, because this guy, it is. So look, I love sport, and that story about people overcoming the odds to get there for no money, absolutely no money, or to come back just because you missed and enjoyed the sport. Those are the stories that that give me hope.
So do you want to go on your FIFA tickets rant or not?
Look, so I sent it to the hockey guys, Joe. Dude, you're talking ticket price, and I showed my little guy. He gets it. He gets it. He understands. 5 months before these games happen, the cheapest tickets are about 5-6 grand.
Well, so that's to be fair, right? To be fair, let's not clickbait this. That's for opening game in Toronto, right? Because
Right.
you have tickets in your area for about 750, which still is dumb, right? Like in the boonies, you're in the boonies and you're paying $750.
A
That's
ticket.
still dumb. A ticket.
Yeah.
And it's like two like whatever inconsequential opponents, right?
And
it's
that's the first. That's the
$750.
first round.
Yeah.
Like that's the first. That's
Right.
the first round.
Now,
And
part
that's
of
now.
it is
That's 5 months out. That's 5 months out. Who knows how much that ticket is? And yes, if I get it now,
Well-
and maybe I should, and flip it for $2,000. Yes.
There was some kind of a lottery, right? Because I think they have a lottery for LA Olympics also, but unless you could get face value tickets, right? You're paying the freaking the online scalping sites, right? Because obviously you showed me StubHub, but it's not like you can get it from the official site, right? There's no official game tickets, right? So
And what's worse is, and again, you can't say keep politics out of sports anymore. You can't do it because it's
not anymore. Yeah.
But especially when the fact that there are 12 nations that have qualified for the World Cup that have travel bans coming to our country.
Yeah, yeah.
The Little League World Series, Honduras was not allowed to compete. So what FIFA, who literally has the spine of jellyfish, they put out a statement because the tickets went on sale, and then the U.S. announced all these travel bans, and FIFA stood up and said, well, it's up to you to check the travel bans for your country.
Yeah.
They're not refunds. They're not saying we're giving refunds. They're not saying we're going to help. They're trying to start some kind of pay to play. It's like, well, here's another way we can make money. We're going to start a special process where if you have tickets, we'll kick you to the front of the line to see if you get approved, but you have to pay to maybe get it expedited. But who knows? Here's the thing with the way our country is run right now, we don't know if on the eve of Germany playing in round 2 or the week before that there's not going to be a travel ban against Germany.
Who is Germany choosing as its opponent in the World Cup?
Right, exactly. Thank you. Exactly. And now you have countries
That's
like
why
Brazil.
it's the World Cup, Joe. It's the world.
And then when
World Cup.
and then when the U.S. goes out of its way so now there's a thing going on. Again, it's geopolitical. There was a vote in the House of Representatives in British Columbia whether to allow ICE agents into British Columbia because British Columbia, the ICE agent says no. FIFA is working with the U.S. government for security purposes at the World Cup, which means we're going to Mexico City. We're going to Toronto. We're going to Vancouver. Yes, there was a vote in the House of Representatives in British Columbia whether British Columbia would allow ICE agents because they have to approve ICE agents coming in with guns to do security. And the United States says, no, whatever laws you think you have, our deal with FIFA supersedes your international borders. And so now you have people dealing with that. You have Norway, Germany, England so far, and I think there was one other EU country, not that England's in the EU anymore, saying if the United States threatens Greenland anymore, or gosh forbid, does any actions, we are not going to the World Cup. Like the governing bodies of soccer in those countries have already said, stop with the Greenland bullshit. And they know the only thing that they can use as leverage is boycotting, the World Cup. So, and also you have countries like Argentina, the reigning World Cup champ, and Brazil, who's always in the top 4 picks of who's going to walk away with it, saying, look, we're not sure we're sending our team to a country where their players might get arrested for being in the country.
Right.
I mean, all the college professors who were here on work visas who had their visas revoked in the middle of the night and then arrested by ICE, not knowing their visas were arrested. You have countries saying, we don't know if we're going to send our players there. So
I think FIFA, so we will see how this works out, right? Because then after that, right, 2028 is Los Angeles Summer Olympics, right?
So how can I follow sport? It makes it hard. Did I get up this morning and I bring my laptop upstairs to do a little housekeeping while watching the Arsenal game? Yes. I follow European soccer like I hope Team A beats Team B. Oh, Team B had a hell of a goal in stoppage time. I'm going to get my little guy to watch that highlight. And then I shut off the TV and go on with my day. So I enjoy the athleticism of that. But, look, I'll turn it on. I hope the good guys win. I don't know who the good guys are anymore, but the good guys are that good gal who came back to skate. So for the people who love it, I hope you have a great time. But as far as I'm concerned, the only other thing that I was going to, touch on is when you mentioned music, management is pissed. She loves Poison. And I don't know if you saw this week.
Brett Michaels, the singer, basically kind of demanding something like 60% of the proceeds, right?
They're a 4-member band, and literally a friend of mine and Biff's put the band back together about 15 years ago. He sat down with Brett Michaels and says, "You're doing 200 shows a year in front of 2,500 people," and sat down with CC DeVille and said, "You're doing 200 shows a year in front of 500 people. If you two fucking ass clowns can be in the same room, you're doing 200 shows in front of 10,000 people."
Yeah.
So he negotiated the whole putting the band back together. And the way it worked is they did an even split, except Brett Michaels got his own bus to go from point A to point B, and the other three. And so if you went to a Poison concert, which we did, you had an option at the end of the concert if you were in the world that Biff and I are. Yes, you get to go to the after party. You can go to the Brett Michaels after party, which is being hosted here, or you can go to the band after party. And so the bands leave the venue. They leave the Gibson Amphitheater, Biff. Yeah. Pour one out for the Gibson Amphitheater. Yeah. And then the next night they're playing up in Sacramento. Right. And so the next time the band sees each other is 22 hours later when the band comes from stage left. Brett Michaels comes, right? They hug, they high five, they hold each other, arms around each other while singing melodies together. They are as close as can be. Oh my God, this magical moment. And then thank you, good night. Brett Michaels exits the way he came, the other band. But this time around, he wants 60%. Yeah. And then the other or 70%, like whatever it was.
Whatever it was, more than half kind of a thing, right?
And the other guys split. Now, once again, rightfully so, to a percent, he should probably get 30%, and the other guys, flip. But on the other hand, so he'll go back. Yeah. So he went off and did these TV shows. So, but he'll go back. So he won't go back to 2,000 seat venues. He'll go to 4,000 seat venues. But with the band, the same thing. When Duran Duran got back together, because the fifth member. The other 4 members were together for 20 years. When that fifth member came back, they went from playing the 5,000 seat arenas to selling out Madison Square Garden, to selling out the roster. It's just that thing.
Is that Andy Taylor?
That is Andy Taylor. Roger Taylor. It's one of the two. There's 3 guys in the band.
Right. Roger was retired for a while. That's what it was. I remember now.
Named Taylor, not related. Because
let me think. Because Warren Cucurullo was the guitarist for a long time. So is that when Warren basically they replaced Warren with Andy Taylor?
Andy came back, and then they did a few albums, and then he left the band again. But they're still doing it. But anyways, but as far as Poison goes, it's management is pissed because all these bands have got back together, and if you put 2 or 3 of those bands together. They do Fenway Park. They're doing Fenway Park. By themselves, Poison would do Great Woods, a 10,000 seat place. So, so again,
Great Woods.
I don't know what it's called now. But gentlemen, it was great to see both of you.
Yep.
Happy Valentine's Day to your significant others. I hope their boyfriends are nice to them. And see you on the other side.
Oh, is that it? Are we over? Okay. Thanks, everybody. Go Pats. Go Seahawks. Go Team USA. Go fuck yourself, JD Vance. And don't forget,